Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about Algorand. I know. It's a wrecked city chart. It's been one of the worst things that I've bought this year. In fact, it wasn't even this year. It was the year before. I bought Algorand two major buy orders. One when I felt like the bear market had come to an end, which, to be fair, I thought it had, and that was around 30 cents. Then I bought another enormous amount of Algorand around 16 cents, which I thought was going to hold, and it didn't. So for the most part, over the last 2 years, I've been sitting on Algorand with very little unrealized profit. Most of the time, it's been negative. There was two things. There was only two altcoins that I bought when I felt like the bear market had come to an end, and they were Algorand and Chainlink. So luckily, Chainlink helps soften the blow that Algorand has given me. But I'm here to give you the good news that I think that this is all going to turn around, and over the next 12 months, everything should be going up. And I think Algorand has a good chance to doing something very similar to this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I actually think it could. I'm not going to give you price targets because I feel like that's unrealistic to give anyone a price target. Later on down the line, especially with a chart that looks like this, which is not even in an uptrend in any way. But the first thing I was going to talk about was what we recognised on the Patreon live stream. So if you want to join the live streams, there's links in the description below to become a Patreon member. You get 2 live streams a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. And last night we were looking at them. Bitcoin has confirmed a pump signal overnight, and so has Algorand. And there's been a few other altcoins that have done the same. So we are looking at more or less immediate pumps to take place. When I say immediate, based on a daily time frame, it could be now or it could be a couple of weeks. It's a daily time frame. It needs a bit of time to fulfill. And it doesn't have to happen from this exact area. It can come all the way down and retest some of the lower zones. 13 cents is where I'll be looking for this. If it starts going down below there, probably not going to pump immediately. It might be a failed signal. But I'm looking for it to make a move. And the move initially would take you up to the first major area of resistance, which would be this death cross retest, which is about 8.5%. And then maybe the 16 cent zone, which is a huge area of support stroke resistance. So obviously we're below it right now. So we had this big bounce from 16 cents here, loving it. And an attempted support and then a breakdown from it. Then we managed to reclaim it, more or less held it, more or less held it, more or less held it. Wrecked city, rejected from it. So 16 cents is a big barrier for Algorand. When above it, good things should happen. When below it, you've got to be cautious and respect the fact that it's resistance. But if you don't know what the pump signal is on the Itchy Cloud, I'll just go through it very briefly. We talk about them all the time. So there's two major ways that I like to play the Itchy Cloud, and this is one of them. This gives you the pump rather than the trend. The pump signal is 4 components that need to be here on the chart at the same time. So the Chiku span, which is crept out of the cloud, which is what we were waiting for last night. You've got the conversion baseline cross. You can't really see it, but there's a blue conversion and baseline moving average down here, which have made a positive cross. That's in the bag. Price action has to be above the cloud, and then the leading portion of the cloud must be green. So we've got all 4 components now, which basically says a pump signal is in play. Same as Bitcoin has got one as well. And they were only generated last night, so that means that they could easily come down, trickle down to supports, and then bounce and fulfill the full force of that pump signal from there. You've also got a 4-hourly, which looks pretty good as well. So this is not dissimilar to all the other altcoins, to be fair. Golden Cross confirmed, so we had a fake out, we had a retest, we had a new Golden Cross, and we basically started to rally from there. And if we look over at momentum on this, it's not got any bearish divergence on it yet. So we could easily see the pump signal take place. As far as this setup was on the 4-hourly, not losing momentum, and the daily obviously has kicked in. If we go to the weekly, what we see is the first time, and it's not confirmed yet. This could also get completely cancelled out by the end of the week. Got to wait for this to get baked in. Positive cross on the histogram on the weekly. Normally a good sign for the start of a potential uptrend to take place. It doesn't always happen, and obviously it's a weekly, so there's delayed views on that. But the last time we got a positive cross was around here, the green histogram, and we did come down first, but we ended up moving up. And again, it's a weekly, so you've got to give it a chance. We're also pushing a resistance at the moment, which is your 20 moving average and the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly. So that all looks quite good. Now, what's the Bitcoin pair doing? It's basically flat as a pancake, and this is what we really like with the Ichimoku cloud. When you get signals when something's been flat, they normally respond much better. Now, this hasn't kicked in yet. This is like a day behind, and we need to stay at this level or higher, which is 220 sats. You get that? You have the same components for the pump signal. You've got the conversion baseline cross, leading portion of the cloud, price action above cloud, Chiku span above cloud. And again, if you measure this to the next major area of resistance, it's actually a lot higher. We're talking about an 18 to 19% move up to 261 sats. Look, that's what that setup suggests. It doesn't mean it has to happen, but that's what it suggests. You're also getting a positive cross on the histogram above the 0 point if we were to confirm this later on tonight. So very pleased with the way that this pair also looks. Take it to a weekly, which again is going to look absolutely wrecked city, but not dissimilar to anything else. Conversion, not a MACD cross over here, which is very nice indeed. Now, obviously, the price action is effectively stagnant over here. We're pushing a 10 exponential with a view to move up to 240 on the weekly here. All of these realistic targets with bullish divergence on the RSI and on the money flow index too. So I'm not calling for an absolute bottom. That's ridiculous. And I'm not going to call for a brand new all-time high. That would also be ridiculous. I'm just pointing something out to you for a chart which really has been just a very painful experience over the last 2-3 years, really. I think is probably due to come to an end. What they really need at Algo is they need some good marketing. They need to catch the attention of the average retailer, because look, I'm not a massive crypto fanboy. I don't look at white papers and listen to look at speeds of transactions all that often. But I've always used Algorand and XRP to transfer crypto to crypto. When it comes to most months when I'm taking profit, you need to put profit in your bank account from spot positions. I often will transfer it into Algo or XRP and send it over and sell it because it's cheap and it's fast. Basically, that's usually my method of selling to fiat. So I recognise how cheap it is and how fast it is, and the people always go on about all these other blockchains, and there's loads of them, and they're all cheap and they're all fast for the most part. But I think this one seems to be one of the cheapest and the fastest. So it's got things going for it. They're not a nothing. This isn't just going to go. This isn't like a scam that's just going to disappear out of nowhere. It's got real utility, and it fundamentally seems pretty sound, really. So I am looking for it to reverse at some point. Now, I think we've got around 12 months left of the bull market. So it might be a bit optimistic to assume that this can just rally up to previous all-time highs and beyond that fast. But we've seen crazier stuff than that before. And someone's going to tell me, I know they're going to do it, I can feel it. And they're going to say, but the market cap, if this were to go back up to $3 or beyond, the market cap would be absolutely unrealistic. Whoa, market cap? You're talking about the market cap of a crypto? Come on now. We know that goes up and down like you've never seen before. Up and down like a yo-yo. Yes, on paper it would have a market cap of a ridiculous sum, but in reality it's still an illiquid asset, isn't it, really, if you want to even call it an asset at all. It's a crypto. So I'm seeing a good possibility on Algo for the tide to turn. And if the tide turns and we start to reclaim 30, and then we make your way up to 38, 46, and then finally crossing up and closing above and continuing to remain above 56, this is where the fun really starts on this coin, because this is wrecked city. No one wants it. Why would you? And I'm taking a bit of a risk on it too, because I've been hurt on this twice, with very few moments where I'm in profit. I crept into profit when I moved closer to the 30s. So I was like, hey, finally, and then back down again. So I'm taking a big risk on it myself, ploughing more money into this, in the hope that what I see is real. But I generally think it is, to be honest with you. But over the longer term, if this were to reclaim 50 to 60, and it really is around those areas, and that could be considered the bottom for many people when they look back at this, because all of this is just it's just a shambles, really. This could be considered a realistic bottom. So if you're, I suppose, more conservative and like to buy into an uptrend on a higher term time frame, you're going to have to really think about reclaiming a 200 simple moving average, which is usually the law of any kind of long-term trend. You've got to be above that. You can't be below it. And even if we were to rally into it from now, and again, like I say, this is why it's a risk. If I was to, just look for a major resistance to even just take a bit of profit from, that'll be 300% before it even breaks majorly bullish on a higher term time frame. So who knows where it's going to go? I certainly don't. I expect it to go up, but it may not. And again, I might be flogging a dead horse here because I've you know, I bought at 13, I bought at 16, and you know, just recently bought again at 13. I might be flogging a dead horse, but I stare at the charts. That's what I like to do, and the charts tell me that there's a pump signal on it, which might be able to bring us above this 20 weekly, which in the past has caused for a decent reaction with a decent move, which effectively started from the retest of that 20 moving average and ended up here, which is a 200% move. So look, I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen. It can happen. It definitely can happen. Will it happen? I don't know. Nobody knows. If somebody's out there telling you it's definitely going to happen, that's not correct, because no one actually knows. But I'm willing to bet that it will. And obviously when I'm making a bet, I'm making a buy order, and I'm adding it to my my already existing Algorand pile, and I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm happy to wait, which I think for the most part is the most useful tool you've got for algo, to wait. There's so many coins out there to choose from, and most of the time people go with the most popular, and they go with the most liquid. They also go with, you know, I suppose what's cool, which is things like Solana, and that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of higher prices. Algorand's never been in the cool kids group. It's just never really been there. It's in fact, looking at it, that is a not a good start to any chart, really. So it's not a good look for it. However, I strongly believe enough that this will break out and move on, and it will take on a new form over the next 12 months, a form of an uptrend. And we've not confirmed that on any real time frame outside of the 4 hourly, which is literally a minuscule time frame, but I am looking for this to rally. And again, I'm going to avoid giving top targets on this one, but I'm happy to hold it and stake it. Thankfully, I have been able to stake Algorand over the last 2 years with pretty decent results, in all fairness, and that has kept me warm in my bed at night. But what will really heat that mattress up will be when this makes a new all-time high and becomes one of the cool kids, which, you know, that is something you can't chat for. That is word of mouth. That's something that really you can't account for. But that's what it kind of needs. It needs the Solana sauce, is what it needs, because it effectively, as far as I can see, is much better than Solana anyway. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.